Well, good evening, everybody. Yeah, I'm Dr. Nick Wild. I'm the sort of head of academics at postgraduates at UCFB, and this is really exciting for me because I'm a big fan of Italian football. I'll tell you a little bit about that in a moment. I sort of started watching football in the 70s, so I saw the great players in the. I saw Italy knock out England in the World Cup in 1978. Let me just introduce them. So we've got Christoph Winterling, who's the commercial and marketing director at Bologna, who I think are in the process of building a new stadium or having a new stadium built or have plans for a new stadium. They beat Crotone 1-0 at the weekend, so that's a good result. Famous players, best players that I found is that I remember Pagliuca, the goalkeeper, probably then Roberto Baggio, World Player of the Year. So, very, very strong. And very strong in the 1970s as well, so a lot of history and heritage. And then I've got Federico Zurleni, Chief Revenue Officer for Udinese. Again, big win for them at Lazio, 3-1 at the weekend. So that's a great result. I should have had a bet on the double, shouldn't I? Knowing that I was going to be in the same, I should have bet on Bologna and Udinese to win. So Udinese, probably one of the players that I remember the most is Franco Causio, who I think he created the goal that knocked England out in the game that I talked about. And also I think Zico as well was there. So, and what we're going to talk about today is we're going to look at the commercial challenges and opportunities for medium-sized Serie A clubs, local, non-local partnerships and private funding. So I suppose really that's the first part because you've described yourselves as medium-sized. So let's start. If I start with Federico. So do you just want to talk through what your main challenges are at the moment?
Good evening, everybody. So very pleased to be here. So we are, as currently we said, we are happy because we just won a few days ago. So we can talk with a smile on the face, and that's quite important. It's not a common period. Sometimes it's harder. But let's say we hope to start a new season in this way. So to manage a medium-sized club like Udinese, it's a challenge for two reasons from our point of view. One is we have the stadium, so we own the stadium, and this is quite important because it's an important revenue stream that we are trying to develop. I mean, we are trying because it's just a few years ago that it was built, and so we are trying to push it and entering inside a new system. But it still let's say that we estimated that at this moment we are about the 10% of the potentially revenues in the future. So there is a long path. And unfortunately, with the COVID, we stopped the path, and so we have to restart in some way for in the next years. And so from this side, it's a local contribution, of course, because we are very asked from several companies that they are on the local side in order to rent the stadium for their own events, for sales meeting, convention, or other activities every days. Before the COVID, we were rented approximately 3 times per week from Monday to Friday, and it was a good revenue stream. Of course, we are working to be back to the concert, the music concert. No. In the past, before that, we reduced the capacity of the stadium by building a new stadium. The Stadio Friuli, now is called Dacia Arena, but the Stadio Friuli, the older, was very, very appreciated from a big talent in order to play music in the stadium. So we have Coldplay, U2, Madonna, several important, Michael Jackson as well. So we had in the past several important players, AC/DC, a lot of them. And so to be back to the concert is important revenue stream from our point of view, because you have to consider also the proximity with the other countries. Now we are very close to the border from Austria, Slovenia, and Croatia as well. And so it means to be attractive also for this kind of public. And when you attract those public, of course, it's important also in terms of revenue for all the other activities. It means food and beverage, merchandising, and other, whatever you can imagine. On the second side, so the stadium is an important tool. The second is the club. So the club, which is for sure very, very, very strict to the region, because it is the only club, an important asset, the sport asset in the region. So the Friuli Venezia Giulia is the name of the region, and is about 1 million people. So it's not a really big region in Italy, but let's say is in the northeast of Italy. And traditionally, it's next year we will have our anniversary, 125 years of history of Udinese Calcio. So it means that it's a long history. And the last 26 years, Udinese Calcio is always participating to Serie A. So it means for a medium club, 26 years in a row participating in the top league is not particularly common for a medium club in Italy. So it means that the local side of our region, it means the local investors, the local companies, they of course try to exploit our heritage, our presence in Serie A, because they can exploit actually the new stadium as an important tool for their PR and activation activity with sponsors, clients, for business to business, for business to consumer activity. The real challenge is how to be less local and more glocal in some way. So activate on the local side, but be let's say visible for an important brand, which are national or at least international. We are lucky in some way. We have a big brand, which is Renault, because with the brand of Dacia, they are with us in the last 10 years, and we are already announced the extension of agreement for additional 3 years. So it means that for a medium club, we will have a 13 years agreement with an important brand, which is not a local brand but international brand. And this is we are very happy about this. So it's a sort of unicity, because there is no other medium club with a long lasting agreement in partnership. Our partner is giving the name to the stadium and also giving the brand visibility on the jersey. How to be more visible and more challenging for international brand? That's the real question. So what we are trying to do is for sure not to be just a football club. What we are presenting to all the possible investors, to the prospect companies, is just see us not as a football club but as a media company. We try to transform our vision, because in some way we realize that all the news that we broadcast every day are absolutely spread away. So we can really communicate to the people, and not just to our fan base, because whatever we do, it is a communication tool. And so we are trying to approach our possible future partner by saying, don't think that we are just a football club. Of course, this is the main activity, but we own the stadium, we build the stadium, we develop the stadium, we will rent the stadium. We are developing a 20,000 square meters of commercial activity in the stadium. So it means that we are ready to rent for other activities, for a swimming pool. We are ready to rent for a gym. We are ready to rent a restaurant, to hotels, to be hosted in our stadium. So see us as a different way. Don't just be linked to the football club. Especially don't watch all time about the sports results, because in any case we want to be to talk as a real company, not as a football club. This is a little bit how we are doing, but it's a long path. So it's not easy. It's not easy at all, because if you need really media, normally you go to the big clubs. That's the reality.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's our point of view.
That's fascinating. I'm actually teaching tomorrow. I'm teaching at the Real Madrid school, and I'm teaching on stadia design, and I think you've just read out. I think you've just given me 10 minutes to talk about this in tomorrow, because it's really fascinating. I love the idea that you're presenting yourself as a media company, because for internationalism, but that's what you have to do, don't you? The brand, the football brand, is still important, but presenting yourself as a media company and representing that region, I think, is very, very, very interesting. Let me come back to that. Let me talk. Just Christoph, just same to you. What are the sort of challenges and opportunities that are facing Bologna then? Are you a similar size club to Udinese? It looks like you are when we look at the statistics.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for the invitation, and hello to everybody. As you said, we won as well, which is not happening so often. So I'm happy as well to speak to you this week. The challenges are similar, but let me talk more about the Italian football before I will come back to Bologna. Because I think despite all the problems we are challenging as well at the moment with stadiums which are closed, moreover, unfortunately, we are not allowed to expose betting brands, which is another challenge for us for the commercial sector. I think it's a very, very interesting and challenging time for Italian football. And I think there are a lot of opportunities for Italian football coming up in the next years. And let me give you some examples. So first of all, we are currently talking to a venture capital company which will most probably buy a 10% stake in a media company, which will be realized to sell Serie A from a commercial point of view. So there are sponsorship rights, but also the media rights. Which in my eyes will give us a lot of advantages. The first one is obviously a financial factor, because we talk about a 1.6 billion investment this joint venture company would like to make. Then obviously also from a government's point of view, because I think there is currently a lack in Italian football, especially when we talk about Serie A, in managing the product in the right way. And I think a new media company with a strong management team will help us also to have different governments which should help the product Serie A to grow globally. And the third part is obviously also the know-how. A joint venture company, in this case is CVC, which has also experience in rugby and in Formula One, is bringing into that company. So also the international contacts and the international know-how this company has. Because I think especially on an international level, I mean, Serie A has a big potential. I mean, we have so many big brands like Inter, Milan, Napoli, Juventus, or also Roma, which are big brands, which can be very competitive. So I think it can be also in the future, and already this year is showing it, that more clubs can win the championship. So I think it's a very, very interesting championship. And we're talking about brands which have a global reputation, which have a global image, which people know globally also thanks to the name of the cities, which is a big advantage other championships don't have. The second interesting, I think, aspect is that more and more international investors are investing into Serie A clubs, which shows that Serie A is very interesting, which shows that also the investors believe that there's a big potential. And again, this helps us financially, but I think this helps us also in terms of know-how, in terms of international contacts, in terms of seeing things differently and managing things differently. And the third thing is also the infrastructures. I mean, Federico is lucky because they have a beautiful stadium, modern, which they want to use also during the week to increase incomes. We at Bologna, we are currently planning to revamp our stadium. It's a very old stadium built 90 years ago. Actually, now it would be the best time to build a stadium because nobody is in the stadium. But unfortunately, we have to wait a little bit. But I think this is another opportunity for Italian football coming up. Should we really have the right infrastructure in place? And I hope that this will come in the next years, that more and more clubs will have such a modern stadium. Udinese, for example, has already. There is another big potential for Serie A to grow significantly in the next years. And obviously, we as Bologna, we have to take advantage of this. I mean, as Federico said, we are a local club, so we have to work on the territory, because this is for us always the most important and interesting market, because these are people which will always stay with the club, which will be always our, in Italian we say pane, because these are the people which stay with us no matter if we lose or win. But we have to grow also on a global level. I mean, we have a foreign ownership and foreign owner, which is Mr. Saputo from Canada. So obviously, Canada for us is one of the market where we would like to grow. So we have built up a team from Bologna with the Montreal Impact, because Mr. Saputo is also the owner of the Montreal Impact, where we share ideas, where we share contacts, where we see how we can grow together from a technical point of view, but also a commercial point of view. We have opened our social media in China, Weibo and WeChat, because it's a very interesting market for us as well. I mean, we had in the past, as you said, Roberto Baggio, which is helping us to have some popularity. And thanks to this, we have closed in the last 2 years 2 deals with Chinese companies for local partnerships deal, which is a good message for us. And we have a Japanese player, so we're trying now to look also into the Japanese market. But obviously, we all hope that with the fact that Serie A will have this new company in place and will hopefully grow globally, that we also can take advantage of this. I spoke actually with Federico some weeks ago or 2 weeks ago about what they are doing, and I think he mentioned that they have ambassadors all around the world, which had been people living in Udinese or people which work for important companies, which they are using to promote the brand and use the contacts. And I think it's a very, very interesting thing, and we want to look into this as well in the future.
That's okay. That's an interesting point. So Federico, I was going to ask about that. Was going to ask you both, but if I start with Federico, can you tell us about your international representatives then? So do you have agents there, or are they ambassadors or partners? Or
no, we tried, of course, to have some agency working with us on international level, trying to maximize our visibility outside of Italy. This is part of our regional partnership program, but at the moment, honestly, it's a little bit hard. We realize it's a little bit harder for us due to the reason that specifically we check about the visibility of our matches outside of Italy, specifically in different countries, and there are countries where we are broadcasted like 2 or 3 times per season, so it means nothing. So to have a possible regional partner over there. So we, as Christoph said, we really love the fact that CVC will enter in the league, because we really love that the league will have much more energy and powerful in order to try to develop themselves outside of Italy with new offices in every single country in order to promote Serie A, in order to create a visibility not just for the big clubs, because they already have a big visibility, even for Champions League or Europa League or other competition. What the league has to help us growing in visibility outside of Italy for also the medium level clubs. And to do so, agency for sure, they are in touch with us, but we are not the best client because they are not selling us very well. So they are concentrated, the agents are approximately all the same. So they are working with all the clubs across Europe. And so they are trying to give and bringing money to the clubs for their own commissions, of course. We are trying, we discovered that we have a big community outside of Udine. The name of this community is called Fogolar. So it means that in the past, specifically 1 century ago, a lot of people living in Friuli go away from Friuli in different countries across the globe. So in Canada, in Asia, in South America, or in Europe as well. And so to do so, this year we celebrated this large community, this little population that are building themselves a sort of little region in a different countries. It's like a Chinatown, more or less, with the right proportion. But to celebrate the fact that we know that they exist, we launched the second jersey this year with a specific design that includes all the name of all this Fogolar across the globe. And this was an amazing, successful operation, because they realized that we think about them, and so they contact us immediately. Thank you, you do a fantastic job, thank you, we are always we have you in our heart, and etc. etc. And so we said, okay, very good. So we tried to talk with them, say, hey, but why you don't help us? Because now you are there in the last 30, 40 or 50 years, so you know everybody. You are an entrepreneur, most of them. You work, you know everybody there. If you want to help us to promote Udinese and your region and Friuli and Italy as well, help us by giving us some messages, or arrange with us. Thanks to this tool, along with video calls, we are doing always video calls today, also with our representative across the globe, by asking them a sort of hand to say, okay, help us, maybe we can work together in this way. And we are trying. It's a thing that is started just 2 months ago, but it seems interesting, much more interested to work with the agent, because agents, they are believing just about business. This kind of person, they are believing about Friuli, they are believing about Udinese, they want to be linked with us, and this is it's quite interesting. So we really hope to have some successful history to chat in the future.
Okay, that's good. So Christoph, so tell us about your international representation then. How are you targeting these countries then?
Yeah, again, like Federico said, we basically work together with the agencies. I mean, we don't have offices outside of Italy. We actually also in Italy only work with an internal structure, so we don't have an agency which is managing our marketing rights. So we try to find then the right agency in the single market, which we think can support us in the best way, and think this will be also our future, because again, as Federico said, there are a lot of other clubs which have much more markets, much more potential. We want and we have to be there, but we have to stay focused also on our local market, which is very, very important for us. And when I speak about local market, I mean, we have to be attention on the B2B market. Actually, Bologna is a city where you have a lot of companies which are working in the B2B sector. It's actually a very rich region. We are the only club in football, but we have 2 strong basketball teams. So on a local level, we are sometimes competing also with basketball teams. But the B2B business for us is important, and there are actually a lot of opportunities also for companies which do B2B working together with a football club, because people always say, no, I mean, we don't have a product for the consumer, so it's not interesting for us. But I can tell you, the companies which invest into a football club are very, very happy here in Bologna. I mean, we have a beautiful new hospitality area where we have more than 1,000 people. Then we have a platform which is dedicated only for companies which are doing B2B, which are doing then business among themselves. And we have regular workshops we are doing as well. On the other side, the B2C business is very important. I mean, the visibility in the stadium is very important for a lot of companies. But we experience more and more, and I think this is part of the future of also the commercial department and the sponsorship deals, that the visibility is still important, but it's becoming less important. So companies, they are looking for opportunities to convert the investment immediately into business. And one of the possibilities we have to offer them in the future is to have a more and more profile database where they can talk directly to the consumer which is interested in their product, in their service, and convert that into business. And I think when we talk also about local companies, some local companies which are very strong, they don't need the visibility, but they need a club where they think they find the right people, the right image of the club. So I think investments into corporate social responsibility, and we have actually now launched a platform where we are offering a lot of, or where we are investing a lot into different local activities for poor people, for disabled people, or other people which have unfortunately not an easy life, which will be interested for companies where they would like to be associated with. And also when we talk about the environment, so any investment, and we are looking into this, I know it's not our core business, but I think it will be very important also to look into what we as a football club can do to reduce waste, to improve the environment of our life, make it a more healthy life. Will be interesting, I think, for some companies which not necessarily invest into a football club, but if you tell them the right story, and if you give them the possibility to be associated on elements which are not necessarily our core business, I think we can be more and more attractive.
Okay, that's great. So can I ask you both? So if Federico, can I ask you about social media first? What about your social media, and how does that help you reach your international fans? The Fogola? How do you reach?
Yeah, this is it's a good question. So we compared to Bologna, they are, let's say, a little bit far away from us. I have to admit. So they are work properly on the social network, specifically in the different languages. We are still communication. Our communication on the social network is just in Italian. So this is not exactly what we want to do. So we are working at the moment in order to launch the English version of our social network, also because we want to involve our players, that are 90% of our roster is coming from outside of Italy, so they are not Italian players. So we are trying to involve them in communication, but of course most of them, they are not speaking Italian, so they are not sharing our post on the social media for this reason. Of course we are watching to be in China as well. We would like to launch by the end of this sports season, so we expect to launch something before May or June. This is in order to be ready for the next season, where we expect to be back to normality, also about communication and other activity. For sure, this is not our real strength. What we are doing is giving different social network for all the activities that we have. So we have a social media for the club, for football club. We have a social media for esports right now. We have social media for our television. We own a television which is called Udinese TV, and this television is a local television, but in some way it's good on the region. We have a social social media for the Udinese Academy, which is our let's say the academy where we discover new talent across Italy, because we participate with about 63 the unprofessional clubs across Italy. And so thanks to all of this system, we arrive and we spread out our message to several different attendances. For sure, this is not international at the moment. So this is the luck we have in order to be international. But we are working in order to do what we are trying at the moment is exploiting this time, which is, let's say, less engaging for us due to the virus. And by studying the data, so specifically studying the visibility of our clubs outside of Italy in terms of television, country by country, try to cross the visibility of our matches every year, crossing with the presence of players in those countries, and trying to say, okay, we have these players from, I don't know, Argentina, very good. In Argentina, we have a good broadcaster there. Trying to work in those countries in order to involve investors, possible partners on the local side, in order to be linked to the players, linked to the country, and have a virtual advertising sometimes in those countries. So we try to exploit this moment, this particular year, in order to have a sort of helicopter view and try to see, okay, let's stop it, let's think about what we have. Let's analyze for the first time, because normally we have no time, because normally when the engine is on, really on, every 2 weeks, it's hard to have a time to breathe. And so we are trying right now to, okay, don't lose our time. Let's breathe, let's study, let's try to manage this situation in order to be more attractive for the next season. Okay, the next season is a new era. Let's work for next season. This year is a passage. Let's do it in this way.
Yeah, interesting. And my research has been in Argentina, and a lot of people don't realise how Italian Argentina is. It's something like 40% of the whole population is Italian, and the other 40% is Spanish. So these are big, South America, these are big markets for you, aren't they? I noticed that. Interestingly, in the 78 World Cup final was Italy, Argentina and Holland, and they couldn't decide where they would get the referee from. And Holland didn't want a South American referee, but they agreed to have an Italian referee for the final, which I think was probably that was their downfall. But sorry, so Christoph, just tell us a bit about your social media then. Tell us about your sort of social media presence and what you're doing in that area.
Yeah, I mean, social media is becoming more and more important. Already in the last years, social media was growing because, as Federico before said, we also becoming, and we are a media company. So we're not only a football company, but we are a media company. So we have to invest into our communication, and social media is the future. We invest actually on all the different platforms we have. We have the platforms in place currently in Italian and in English. Again, in China we have different platforms because Chinese people talk on different platforms. From a commercial point of view, I think it's becoming more and more interesting to create a so-called branded content. I mean, in a former time, perhaps platforms had been used to show simple advertising. I think now we really have to be creative and see what we can offer fans, which fans like, where we talk about principle, about the club, about sport content, but we try to integrate in a smart way our sponsors, in which they then show the products, show the services. I think this is very important for the future to have success for all the single parties.
Okay, I'm just going to go to. We've got quite a few questions that have come through in comments. So Biagio was asking about. It says, do you think that this deal, that the new 1.7 billion euro deal, will help Serie A to overcome La Liga and Bundesliga and narrow the gap with the Premier League? Federico, do you think that does it make you more competitive?
Yeah, I think will help us a lot. So what we really need is governance. First of all, so we really hope that the introduction of CVC will help the league to have a real good person in order to let them work. Because honestly, in the last 15 years, the real problem was about the fighting inside the clubs in the leagues, and so that we're not developing very well in a common path. So this is for sure. For sure, it's a good point. What we have to really ask to the league is, don't forget the little medium club, because otherwise the interest of the league normally will go to try to push harder the biggest one. But in this case, what we have to avoid is to create a big gap between the most important clubs and all the others. So the new incomes is important, that will be very, very well exploited in order to keep all the league on the top, and not just giving a big visibility on the international side to the big clubs and give the others the medium when it happens, because this is quite important for all of our strategies. So all of us in the medium range clubs, we want to be not more local. So we love the local, but also be visible as a media company for others. If they forget us, for sure will be harder. And also we would like to ask our investor to not allow to have the same situation as the league, the Liga, where two clubs always are on the top, and the others there is a less interest outside of it, outside of Spain. This is my perception.
So Christoph, same question to you. I get a sense that there's strong collaboration now. The way that you and Federico were talking earlier, that do you think has this brought the clubs together? This deal with the new investor.
Yeah, so it looks, I would say, most probably for the first time, that the clubs are doing squadra, we would say. So they are working together in making that happen. And I think it can become really a game changer for Serie A. It will take time, because it will take time to develop the brand. Also La Liga, which I think is doing an excellent job worldwide, was investing a lot of money, a lot of resources, a lot of time before becoming so popular in different markets. So it will take time. But I fully agree with Federico. When we talk about Bologna, we really have to be careful as Serie A to manage it the right way. So not to think only about the big clubs, but also about the small clubs or the middle-sized clubs. I mean, we are part of the championship. I think we can also give an important contribution on the championship, but also then on the global growth of the brand. And it's very important to find a good equilibrium, or good balance for all the clubs.
Okay, just a question, something coming through here. This is from Luigi. So he's asking about Federico, your sponsorship deal with Dacia. Does that help? Do you work with them on any of your CSR activities?
Honestly, no. I think no. It means what we are doing for CSR, it's working in a specific side. So CSR for us is helping company to have a reason why to invest with us, and giving them some important communication tool that could be different from others' situation. I don't mean about other football clubs. I mean other possible communication investment. So what we are doing is first try to transform our stadium. So we are working in order to be the first stadium green. So really green. So with the plastic free, with all the activities related to the perfectly recycling of the rubbish, and also the reducing of the emission. So this is just an example. We own the stadium. We said, okay, this is an important side, because if we really become the first stadium in Italy totally green, this is a matter of CSR for several companies to watch us and to be linked with us. That's what we are doing.
Yeah. Okay. So just going back through some of the questions. So I think we've answered that one. George is asking, do you use your stadium to host free events to create brand experiences and brand relationships? I think I don't know what you mean there. Sorry, George. By free events, do either of you have events at the stadium? Like, I mean, George, I'm assuming that by free event you mean people come and use the stadium, or okay, we'll pass on. Yeah. Sorry, Christoph, you were going to speak?
No, I don't know if it was for me or for Federico. I mean, we are not actually the owner of the stadium, but we have the luck to manage it for 360 days a year. So we had around, because obviously we also hit by pandemic like Udinese, but we have around 50 events a year. And what we realized, because we organized together with the municipality the possibility to visit our stadium for people from the territory, but also for tourists coming from outside of Bologna or Italy. And that this has become very, very interesting for people which are visiting our city. It's becoming a city which has a very important growth in terms of tourism. Unfortunately, also this was stopped now, but this is something where we experienced that there is a lot of potential for growth, because we are close to Ferrari, we are close to Lamborghini, Ducati. So a lot of people are coming to Bologna to actually visit different brands, but then they stay in town and come also to the stadium. So this is something where we hope in the future to grow business.
Yeah, from our point of view, by answering to the same question, of course, by owning the stadium, this is it's something that we can do. Honestly, we are not opening the stadium for free, so we are not allowing people to enter to watch it. But there is a big activity that we are doing during the matches, before the matches, after the matches, in order to have our own tour to our guests. On the other side, by renting the stadium to clients, they are using all the facilities. So it means that if they ask for their convention, for their sales meeting, for their needs, to arrange also using the locker room, or using the restaurant or the pitch as well, they can do it. Of course, it depends about the period, but they can do it. And this is for sure, it's absolutely important in order to promote the stadium to not just on the local side, but with a company that could exploit our stadium, which is a good dimension for all the events that they have in mind. And this is a really a strong part of our strategy to the revenue of the stadium.
Yeah, we got a question from Maria, because we're big into we big in women's football here. So she's asking you, can you tell us a bit about women's football and disability football at your two clubs? Are these growing as well? So Christoph, I'll start with you. So is women's and disability football in your club growing, or in Italy generally?
Yes. I mean, honestly, we are only at the beginning. We have a team which is currently playing in 3rd division. So it's something we are starting to invest now. It will take time, but it's something we are looking into it, and we want to promote as well, because we feel the need that we have to do something also for women. We're actually also launching next year a women club, in which we like some clubs have with Kids Club, where they have different services for this specific target, trying to offer everyday services for these people. We did this now for older people. We call it senior club. So we do it next year for women club. So women are we have to look into this. And talking about the club, yes, we are trying, or we are starting to invest into our team. Again, also this will take time, but it's something we will do. talking about disabled people, I mean, we have launched this platform, which I think in the future will become a foundation. So this foundation do a lot of things for disabled people, because we have to stay close to them. I think we have also a big responsibility as a football club. I always say we have a big opportunity because we have a big visibility. We have fans which are very loyal, but at the same time, we have also a big responsibility. And the big responsibility we have for everybody, but also for people which are less fortunate like we are, so people which are disabled. What we do from a practical point of view with them, or from a sport point of view with them, we have our summer camps in which we involve also kids which are disabled, which we like to involve into the training sessions.
Okay. How about, is that the same for you, Federico? You've got a women's team, and do you have a women's team?
We are approximately exactly in the same line with Bologna. We have our female team. It's under 17 at the moment. So we decide not to buy different football clubs, female football clubs outside, in order just to give them the brand of Udinese. But we say, okay, we have our youth program. In the youth program, there are good talents, and so we are waiting that they are growing. So at the moment, our top club in the female, in the women, is just about under 17s, and we are growing with them in terms of visibility, but they are not participating to Serie A, female Serie A in the future, because they are not at that level at the moment. But what we can say is, for sure, in our academies and in the youth program we have, the numbers of females and women that they are trying to playing football is growing, completely growing than compared to years ago. So this is a good signal. We know, and it's a part of our strategy to try to grow in several numbers in this particular section, because it's also a business opportunity in the future, because we want to attract a different side of customers. So it means that also different kind of sponsors and partners are watching more on the female side than on the male side. That's for the disability, we are doing exactly the same, like Christoph said, like Bologna, a little bit different, because we are working much more, let's say, on the summer camp, organizing several activities just involved in this kind of system. Also during the lockdown, we arrange some Zoom section with them in order to involve them and talk with them in a different way.
Okay, so I'm getting messages from the producer here. Okay. So just as a question here coming in from Biagio, and he's saying, Bologna and Udinese have got such big history in football, Italian football. Have you considered an opportunity to create a documentary series? You know, the ones that on Netflix and Amazon, where they film inside the club. Is that something
Christoph, let's talk about. We have to.
Is that,
no. Personally, not. But it's a good point. Why not?
Biagio is very active, so it's
good. Biagio.
It's good to hear that he's so active.
Okay, good.
I take note. Of
And
also we've got our own.
This is actually, honestly, we are currently talking about it. We're talking with different companies, and we're talking also internally, because it's a big challenge to get also the support of the technical part of the club, which is, I think, the most difficult part. But we're actually thinking about it, because we think we have a very interesting story to tell, with the fact that, as Biagio said, we are a very historical club. We have
you're frozen there. Hang on. Oh, he's gone. We've lost Federico, I think. Oh no, he's back.
Sorry, my connection was.
No, don't worry. Okay, and then we got a comment here before we finalise this. This is from Ivano, one of our former MSc students, Italian. He attended the summer school in the football stadium management at Dassi in 2019. He was impressed by that, and he says, "Is the club planning to hold a similar event in 2021?"
So you're speaking to me? Sorry.
Federico. Yeah, no, sorry. Ivano was saying that he went to a summer school in your stadium.
Yeah. So I read it. Sorry, I read it. I read it, the question on the chat. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Ivano. It was a really good program. We were ready to do it in June 2020. Unfortunately, we stopped it for the COVID situation. We don't know for 2021. We still not approach the project with the University of Cattolica, which is our partner in this particular let's say summer school. But the intention for us is to replicate, because the venue management is something that will be crucial in the next 10 years in Italy. For sure, we know that several clubs, not just from football, but also from different other sports, from basketball or rugby or volleyball, they are working in order to build their own stadium. So we expect in the future that we need a lot of managers able to manage this kind of new activity, because before, right now, 90% of the stadium are belonging to the major, belonging to the city, and so the clubs, they don't need simply to manage. They need to manage that day, the match day. On the other time, it doesn't matter. Okay. If you manage it every day like we do, it's a big job. It's a big job, and try to maximize the revenue. It's hard, and you needed to have new managers in different situations, knowing the market. So for sure, we hope to do again.
Okay, well, gentlemen, it's time. Our time is up. So, Christoph and Federico, it's been fascinating. We could talk all night, I'm sure, and we're very interested in what you're doing. Thanks for helping us on this, and we'll take a keen interest in both your clubs as well moving forward. So, we'll share this with other students and talk. And let's hope that that you can come to Wembley soon, and that we will try and come over there, and we wish you all the best. It all sounds really exciting and looks very interesting.